The House will now consider the bill in detail. Is it the wish of the House to take the bill as a whole?
No, it's not, Mr. Speaker. Leave is not granted to do
I haven't called you yet. The Manager of Opposition Business.
No, Mr. Speaker. Leave is not given to consider the bill as a whole.
Just before we proceed, I take that point from the Manager of Opposition Business, and he's entitled to move motions. There's a more fundamental point, though, and that is the member for Kennedy is seeking to move amendments. They need to be circulated, and they're just— I haven't got a copy of them. No, well, actually, the standing orders are very clear that amendments need to be circulated and available to members, and it's a point, in fact, the member for Grayndler made rather vigorously on another occasion. I just want to understand that while you're agreeing with me, that's fine. I just want to make sure that there's sufficient copies at the table. You don't need to stand. I'll call you in a second. I'm just trying to clarify something. Understand? Sure. Just.
We'll just
Just obviously an issue just with these amendments only just being just hang on a second, only just being tabled, that it's important that the clerks have the opportunity to look at them and work out where they go sequentially. So there's nothing. The Manager of Opposition Business has moved his motion. I don't feel in good conscience we can proceed if we go down a wrong track with a bill with the amendments. What I'd suggest, if members are happy, just to give a little bit of time. I'm well within my rights to say I don't think there's been sufficient time and they've only just been circulated. I first heard of their existence during the division, and I could go through the House practice in arcane detail, and I could do that for several minutes. I just think it'd be a better use of time if we move to the 90-second statements, and then that would mean that we deal with it sufficiently. Is the Leader of the House happy with that course?
I am, Mr. Speaker. On the, as a point of order, I would take it to explain to the members that because we would normally deal with the bill as one, as a whole, and therefore now in consideration in detail there'd be this in detail amendment from the member for Kennedy, because in this unprecedented way Labor's refused to give leave to do that, we are therefore
I remind the member for Isaacs he's already been warned today. The Manager of Opposition Business was heard in silence, so will the Leader of the House.
So therefore we need for the clerks to make sure that each amendment it fits in with the clause in particular when we get to it. So the first clause is, of course, the opening statement of the bill, or the title of the bill, in fact, and there'll be other clauses which the amendment might impact upon.
That's right.
And normally, of course, we would deal with the whole bill, and the amendment would be discussed as part of the whole. So Labor, the opposition, has just deliberately stopped this bill from being able to be debated, and I agree with you that your course of action to go to 90-second statements while the clerks go through that laborious process is the only alternative.
Well, that's right. It's not up to me to comment on motions that are moved. Motions are entitled to be moved. But what's most important is that the House knows what it's considering and that the advice is properly there before the House. The member for Kennedy.
Quick point of order to clarify the matter,
Yep.
Speaker, and I think it does need clarification.
Yep.
I mean, everyone in this House, particularly on this side, is worried about the sale of government assets that will occur. And the government has agreed that we will prevent the sale of government assets. So my amendment is about preventing the sale of government assets, which particularly pertains to the Snowy and to Queensland.
If the member for Kennedy can just resume his seat, I gave the member for Kennedy a chance to rise, given that he was moving the amendments. I've said the course of action we're going to pursue, and the reason for that is because the amendments hadn't been circulated in sufficient time for the due diligence that needs to be done and it's not proper, I don't think, for the member for Kennedy to start explaining his amendment prior to that work being done. And once that work's been done, he'll be able to do it. And it being 1:30 p.m,